Man, I'm bored, but there's just nothing to do around here. I already beat Club Penguin Game Day, but that was supposed to take me way longer than an hour and a half. I cleared 2 months on my schedule for that. Oh yeah, I did say to get back to that one, didn't I?
That's right, I'm not done with arcade revivals just yet. I've still got this thing to talk about. Breakout's a game we all know and love in some sort of deep part of ourselves, but unlike Q*bert, I don't really care if you dispute that idea. You can't really hurt the feelings of bricks, after all. This is one of the earliest examples of a popular video game I can really think of, from all the way back in '76. I can say with a good amount of confidence that we've all come across some variant of the core Breakout gameplay formula at some point in our lives. Hell, every time I blink, there's a new Breakout-like right in front of me that I didn't know about. Science says the sheep was the first animal to be cloned, but clearly science hasn't taken a look at 70s to 80s era gaming. Back then, copying games was about as much of a widespread pastime for game companies as cocaine was for authors. Now, if you've already borne witness to me talking about arcade revivals on the PS1, you already know the spiel, so I won't take up too much of your time. Long story short, gaming market evolves, home consoles are super popular now, Frogger. Breakout here got the same treatment, but was notably absent from that discussion. Mostly because I'm afraid. Not about anything in particular here, it just radiates a certain aura that tells me I shouldn't de-shrink this thing.
Never mind, let's...
But before we do that, there's something I gotta clear up.
What are you still doing here? I know you showed up to give me Breakout on PS1, but usually people, like, leave after doing that?
I heard there's multiplayer in this game. It's the only thing that gives my life meaning anymore.
Have you tried train spotting? It is a surprisingly popular hobby.
The fuck is a train?
You do know I'm gonna have to talk about this game's single-player content first, right? Are you just gonna...
I'm just gonna sit over there.
For 2 hours? Get comfy, I guess. That was my chair.
We get that disc spinning and jump right in. Our sitcom cast of characters are having a great time hanging out on a concerningly small island. And yes, you heard me correctly, cast of characters. They gave the paddles sentience.
Do you think they feel pain?
Disappointingly enough, neither the game nor the manual gives us actual names for most of these guys, except I think the camo one is named Combo. We do get some names, namely this guy. This here is our main character, Bouncer. He's red.
Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much.
And him and the gang are partying it up, playing the only sport I think they're physically able to play. Bouncer goes to fetch the beach ball from the water, and in that less than a minute time frame, everyone's been kidnapped. Now that's just kinda sad. Bouncer's now condemned to brick Alcatraz, and I think we all know where this is going.
Looks like we gotta break out.
There's only one way to properly break out of prison, and that's to fling metal balls at the wall until it breaks. Throughout this game, we're guided by this higher entity by the name of Coach Steel, and he's gonna teach us how to do whatever this is. I don't know where he came from, I don't know what his goals are, or if he's even real. All I do know is that he's constantly observing, and he does not approve of what you do in your free time. Aside from the standard Breakout fare, we've got a few more moves in our arsenal than your typical alleyway Wednesday. We're all counting down to it. You can tilt Bouncer up to 15 degrees in either direction, and slice the ball while you're moving, which sends it in the opposite direction you're moving. Supposedly, I could almost never get this to work. I also definitely always remembered that you could do this. After learning the basics and having our life's worth judged by steel, we're thrown to the wolves. Literally. For reasons unknown to us puny mortals, this game has chase sequences, and yes, it is hilarious, thanks for noticing. I don't even think they have legs, they just shuffle along. That's our tutorial stage done. This game's separated into 5 main stages besides that tutorial we just went through, starting with Egypt. This is where I consider the game to truly start. We're given a few different challenges in each level, most of which being structured around that one arcade game that I'm forgetting the name of.
Space Invaders?
This is also where a lot of the problems I have with this game really start to show themselves. First off, the movement here is pretty sensitive. It's nothing I can't get used to, but you go from 0 to 100 real quick, and it led me to overshooting a lot of hits, or over-calibrating for the absurd sensitivity and undershooting. Again, nothing I didn't get used to, but you really don't need to move this fast. Another problem that I encountered is that the power-ups in this game can really screw you over sometimes. And not necessarily in a way that they have bad effects, although some of them definitely do. It's more so that they can spawn wherever they feel like. And sometimes that place is right where your ball's going. This would be fine if they acted like how you'd expect them to act. You know, ball goes through, you can now get massive, but they don't. Your ball bounces off them, and then you have to grab them when they plonk their asses back down to you. If these things spawn right where your ball is going, you're probably not going to have enough time to react to that, and when you look at that, my self-worth is diminishing as we speak. It's also a little bit of a pain in the ass to get the ball exactly where you want it to go, which we see a little bit of during this part. You gotta hit all these blocks without letting the ball pass through the gaps made after each block is hit. Like the rest of this level, it's not really that bad, all things considered, but it foreshadows a few greater annoyances that will become more apparent as the game continues. The stage ends with a boss fight against what I think is meant to be a mummy, but I'm gonna be honest, I thought that was a dinosaur when I first saw it. You send that thing back to where it came from and rescue your first friend. Throughout the game, you rescue more and more of Bouncer's friends, and you can swap him out with them at pretty much any point you want during any given level. This one's big and he is slow. You'd think that added size would come in handy, but that doesn't really matter when you can't get anywhere, now does it? I know I said this game needed slower movement, but this guy's honestly making me rethink that statement. After rescuing this guy, we're headed off to the farm to do whatever it is people do at one of those. And that is get pissed. For some reason or another, I really struggled with the chicken segment of this world. You can point and laugh now, I get it, I ate shit on the chicken level, that's hilarious. Aside from the wretched birds, there's not too much different about this stage from the rest. At the end of this stage, you fight off some ducks on a raft in order to get to my new favorite character in media. We're still not given a name for him, I'm just gonna call him Magnet Slab. And we end that stage off with another wolf chase sequence. This is turning out to be a really weird grad party. Genuinely though, I love how this game will just throw in scenarios that have nothing to do with Breakout sometimes. Like, is there any reason why we're on a raft fighting off lake spawn? No? Cool, let's do it. This game is weird and I love that. Which is good, because there isn't much else to love this game for. The friend you save here is magnetic, which might sound really good for this game, and honestly it might be, but I don't think I ever noticed this thing actually helping. Look, Magnet Slab might be my best fucking friend ever, but that doesn't mean he's useful. Third stage is castle bullshit, and honestly I think it's the best stage in the game. Okay, the opening segment isn't anything special, but the dragon spitting back your balls adds some depth to your strategies, and this combined with the ball duplicating doors gives the middle sections a really good sense of hectic flow once you get into a groove. The stage also ends off with a kind of fun fight against the dragon. It's not like hard or anything, but this game's at its best when it's doing whatever the hell it wants because it can, so I welcome this. However, around this point in the game is when this game's wonky hit detection really starts to become a problem. As the game ramps up in speed, you're gonna be seeing a lot more stuff that makes you go,
oh, come on!
Me personally, that wouldn't have happened.
Come on, man, what do you plan to do to combat that?
PS1 mouse.
However, you aren't booted out of the game every time you lose all your lives like you might expect to be. You can try this scenario again from the beginning, but Coach Steel going and deciding you're not worth shit might be even worse. But all this is more so a problem with the game as a whole. I'm sorry, my beloved castle level in Breakout on PS1, it's not your fault. The friend you save here from the dragon is this weird kitchen sponge looking bastard, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I have no clue what this one does. The game doesn't tell you, and neither does the manual, so this thing really doesn't have any use to me. Second to last level, we're headed to the factory for what I consider to be the worst level of the game. This opening conveyor belt segment isn't too bad. Honestly, when I saw the conveyor belts, I thought it would be a lot worse than it ended up being, but my real gripes with this area come with the 3 puzzle rooms. You gotta line up these pipes in a way that allows them to flow from one end of the room to another. This kind of puzzle really doesn't work with the game as you don't have a lot of time to actually solve the puzzle amongst all the ball returning nonsense. I got the last puzzle done by complete blind luck, but honestly, I'll take it. All that puzzle stuff was 3 of the 5 scenarios in this area, and the last one isn't anything special either. Very similar to a standard Breakout level, but with this robot trying to block your shots. Although once you learn how to get around him, the only thing stopping you from beating this are your own ineptitude and lasers, which I already deal with on a daily basis, so I got this.
You died 10 times.
Shut up, Isaiah!
As stated before, this game is at its best when it's being weird as hell, so when you just give me 3 iterations of the same puzzle followed by standard Breakout, it's no wonder why this level left no impression on me. From here, you save the camo block. I have no clue what this one does, and I forgot to use it in the final level, so we'll never know. My bad. We're kicking things up a notch in the final level because the gang is all back together and they're going to space to save Bouncer's girlfriend. Did I forget to mention that? Yeah, that's the goal here. Bouncer has a girlfriend. Well, that's one thing the sentient paddle has over me. You all board the rocket that these guys have access to for some reason, tank some asteroids to the face because why the hell wouldn't this thing be able to do that, and storm Batnix's base. Oh yeah, the main villain's name is Batnix. It's the final standoff, Bouncer versus Batnix. Tensions are high, and I'm ready.
Pong!
Yeah, the climactic fight against Batnix is just the original Breakout, which is a pretty neat homage, I must say. However, once that initial, oh that's cool factor wears off, you're just kinda playing Breakout, and have you ever played the original Breakout? It's enthralling. As a result, the final battle ends up feeling a little anticlimactic. Really, the closest thing to a finale-worthy set piece across the whole level was when you're blocking the asteroids. Other than that, this really doesn't live up to the hype.
What hype? Nobody knows what this backwash-ass game is.
Batnix is banished into the endless void of space, cursed to never truly die until his mind eventually ceases to function. And that's it. That's the single-player campaign for Breakout on PS1. Now I guess all that's left is the multiplayer.
God! Finally!
Only 4 of the 6 levels are compatible with multiplayer, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's not like this ruins my plans for the week or anything. Okay, I guess it does. Each map here is pretty much the same as each other, you just gotta be the first player to do that, and there you have it, lifelong bragging rights. Maps might introduce a new gimmick, but for the most part it's all pretty close to standard Breakout, which is a little disappointing. This entire game takes what it means to be Breakout to the absolute limit, and I can respect that, but the multiplayer doesn't really seem to have inherited any of that spirit. Now, before you ask, no, I don't know what I would have done instead, but I can at least say that this is a little boring. The maps themselves do have little differences in how you trip up your opponent, but they all boil down to just hit them with an attack that slows them. In space, that's rockets, in the castle, that's a dragon, and in Egypt, it's nothing. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but at least the other two had something going on in them. This is just Breakout, and that is not what I wanted to play when I snatched this thing up. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'd notice that I said there were 4 stages to play on here, but I've only mentioned 3. And that's because...
Why the hell is this one just chickens?
Why not?
It's fucking Breakout.
Yeah.
Breakout is a ball and a fucking brick.
They're standing.
It's chickens in a house.
They need to herd the chickens.
Yeah, for some reason, the multiplayer offerings here consist of 3 versions of Breakout and chicken herding. I mean, this does address my complaints a little bit, it just feels a little out of place being the only one that's different. It's also not really good, so there's that. And no, I'm not just saying that because I got my ass beat in this one, shut up.
Damn, PS1 mouse is OP.
You just ass at the game.
Oh.
Don't worry though, I picked it back up on the standard Breakout stages, so we're even. Is it a bit unfair that I had the entire campaign to learn the game? Again, no, shut up.
Look at that, look at that. Game says I'm better.
I have the PS1 mouse and you don't.
And oh no, the capture card froze on the space level during our initial run-through. For all you guys know, I won this one too, and you can't prove otherwise. How unfortunate. I am the reigning Breakout champ, and no one can truly dispute this. After that, we're kinda done with multiplayer. Not too much going on here, there are a few different settings to play with, but only barely. We couldn't find any difference between quick and normal mode, and the only other setting is changing the ball speed. Oh, I wonder what that one does. And no, there aren't any settings for the chicken game, because why try to improve on what's already perfect? Okay, now we're done with multiplayer, there's nothing more for me to talk about here.
You're just gonna... Alright. Well, that was all Breakout for PS1 had to offer for the most part. Honestly, for as many missteps as this game makes, I ended my journey through it strangely liking it. Now, I'm not entirely sure that makes it a good game, but it is at least an interesting one.
Although, to reiterate, it is not perfect, not by a long shot. The power-ups can sometimes do way more harm than good, the hit detection is infuriating, Coach Steele's stupid little sends me into a state of fight or flight, and the game just doesn't seem to understand that some things really aren't meant to work with this gameplay style. However, for all the things that didn't work about this game or are just plain bad, there's something that I can look at and really appreciate. Yeah, sure, some stuff it tried didn't work, but for the short 2 hours it takes to beat this thing, it tries a lot of things, some of which do work in its favor. Whatever you can possibly think of that these characters could do, this game tries, and if you think there's something they can't do, well, screw you, they're gonna put chase sequences in there anyways. You're gonna fight a dragon and you're gonna like it. So yeah, it's not great, it might not even be able to be considered good, but I like this game.
Well, now that that's done, what do I do now? I could get an actual job, but honestly, I got a terrible score at the end of that game, so I don't think any place is gonna hire me. I could threaten them.
Doorbell noise.
Oh, that's the division I'm part of again. Wonder what they want this time. Well, I got another job to do.